Hello! Today I'd like to talk about 14 drum rudiments from the 40 International Drum Rudiments published by the Percussive Art Society. This is out of the Basic Drumming book by Joel Rothman. Great book. So, first one is the single stroke roll. You don't see these very often in wind ensemble or orchestral music on snare drum, but do realize that every time you roll on a xylophone, a marimba, or a timpani, you are using a single stroke roll. The technique to strike them is a little different, but the idea is the same. The hands are going very fast to sound like a constant note. The next roll I'd like to talk about is the closed roll, where you're having each stick bounce several times to get that constant buzz. There's a lot going on there. You're basically using the bounce of the stick. Watch me bounce it. So I'm not holding it at all. So you can see there's bounces really far apart at the beginning, and then they get closer and quieter as it goes on. The idea is to practice controlling the fulcrum grip to make the speed of all these bounces the same and the volume the same as well. If I speed it up, here it is quietly. The next roll I'd like to talk about is the open roll, where you're only bouncing each stick twice and you can kind of hear those bounces. So I'll put all three of these together so you can hear the difference. I'll do a bar of single stroke, a bar of closed, and a bar of open. Here it is again. The next roll I'd like to talk about is rudiment number 2, the single stroke 4. So it's basically a 16th triplet to an 8th note. Now we'll talk about the paradiddle. The paradiddle is very important because it is practicing combinations of doubles and singles. You don't often see them written in wind ensemble or orchestral music for snare drum, but do realize when you're playing tom-tom parts or timpani parts, there are many times where you have to use doubles on certain drums, so you're not having to move both hands across many drums. So it's a really important one to practice. And it's basically like it sounds. Paradiddle, right, left, right, right. Paradiddle, left, right, left, left. They are written with an accent on the beginning of each note, or each group, so you should practice it both ways though. So here's with the accent. And here they are really fast. It's a good one that I like to use the drum set to practice because it's what ultimately will push my hands to go faster. So I'll just use the right hand on the hi-hat, the left hand on the snare drum. Paradiddle I'd like to talk about is the double paradiddle, otherwise known as the para-paradiddle. So it would be right, left, right, left, right, right, and left, right, left, right, left, left. So this one can be perceived in duple meter or triple meter, depending on how you practice it. So here's the triple meter first. And here it is in 4/4 time. It's a good one to practice on the drum set as well in the triple meter time. The next rudiment I'd like to talk about is the flam. It's very simple, where there is a grace note before the main note, alternating of course. So the left does a short, quiet note, and then the main note. So let's use it in another rudiment, the flam accent. So this is rudiment number 21. It's basically triplets alternating. And it is written with an accent on the beginning of each triplet. But you should be able to do it both ways. Another rudiment that uses flams is called the flamacue number 23, where it is a group of sixteenths into a quarter note. Of course, the first 16th is a flam and the quarter note is a flam. And it does have an accent on the second 16th note. Let's move on now to the drag. So it's very similar to a flam, except you're bouncing the grace notes. We can use them in rudiment number 34, called lesson 25, where you have 2 16ths and an 8. But of course you're roughing into them or dragging into them. There is an accent written on the final 8th of the group, so I will play it that way. And here it is without the accents. And the last rudiment I'd like to talk about is the single rudimacue, where it is a rough or a drag into a set of 16th triplets to an 8th. It is written with an accent at the end of each grouping. And here it is without the accent. I believe there are 2 more rudiments I'd like to talk about. The 5-stroke roll. It's important because it comes up a lot of music, and it's basically right, right, left, left, right, or left, left, right, right, left. It is written with an accent at the end of it. That's called the button on the end of a roll. You should be able to do it both ways. Here it is used with some improvising. And then there is the 7-stroke roll. This one's a little trickier because you're starting the roll with your right and ending it with the left. Yes, there is an accent written with the final left too for the button, so it's Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed watching me go through some of these rudiments.